Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's installation video, it's time to work on part 2 with the bed of my 4th Gen Tacoma. Part 1 was installing the hard retractable tonneau cover. Part 2 here is installing a bed rack now that's actually compatible with this cover. So if you'd like to see the installation process for the cover, take a look at that separate video. Today, let's move on to the OPENROAD adjustable bed rack. I will have a link down in the description below where you can purchase this product. There's also a few different ways that you can attach this. Since this is a universal kit, I decided to order it with the T-channels so that way it will mount directly to this bed cover and I can still open and close this bed cover and utilize that. There are some brackets where you can get to mount to your truck itself, so if you're not doing a cover, there are attachments where you can do that. So step number 1, if you are installing it to the cover itself, we have these brackets here that are going to slide down. So there's 3 for each bracket. So as you can tell with the 2 on the other side, we're just splitting those up and putting them down this channel here. So if you do get the bed actual mounts for your bed, it will be a little bit different, but hopefully not too hard in using the channels or however your bed comes. So we have 3 up front and 3 in the back. And once those are installed, I'm going to move on to this rubber spacer that's going to go in between this and the bracket. So there's actually some little notches in this portion here that line up really well with the inside of these brackets. So you will just put those in. Now this is going to sit nice and flush in it. And this is going to face outwards. So this thicker portion is going to be on the outside of the truck. And if you can tell on the other side, there's 4 different holes here. For up front, I am going to be utilizing the first and second hole. We'll skip a hole and then go to the 3rd one here. And that is because that's how that bracket is going to fit on here and then with the spacing in the back. So once that is on, now we can line up this mount just like this. Now this can go in and out. I want to have it as far out to the outside of the truck as possible so that way the cover can slide and make way on the inside. So from here, with these bolts, I found it easy to take a flathead just to hold this bolt up, and that way I can get the washer on, I can get the locking washer, and then I can get the nut here and easily put that on. So now I'll just do that 2 more times here by holding this up, just holding it in place and getting this hardware. I'm not going to tighten it down too much just yet because I'm not sure of the placement of all 4 of these just yet. With the front one installed now, I went ahead and moved it as far forward as possible. So I do have a gap between where this crossbar will go and the back of the truck there. So let's move on to the second piece in back here where it's going to be the exact same process basically. There is only one way to insert this foam pad as well. So you will place that and then we're going to do the same thing that we did on the other side. So it looks like we're going first hole, second hole, skip the 3rd one, and then we're going to the 4th hole there. And I'm going to give it a little bit of space between the back end here and this bracket. And then I will just repeat the same process by installing this on top, making sure it's as far out as possible, and then starting to install all of the hardware. So we'll have the washer, there's a locking nut, and then you will take all of these nuts. So there's 2 different kinds. There's one that has a little bit more of a dome shape and then this normal style, what I'll call, and that's what you'll use for all 12 of these hardware screws here. So now we're going to move on to the cross members that go between these posts. Now the easiest way that I found to do this, so there's brackets and you have some hardware here that's going to go on the top of these. So there's holes underneath where you can line up with these brackets here. Now you don't want to tighten them down all that tight because there is a channel that's actually in this crossbar here that this silver plate is going to rest on. Now we can take this piece and slide it from left to right. So as I start on this driver's side, I'm just going to lift that piece up just a little bit so that way we can get it to attach to that piece. So if I have it loose, I can continue to slide it all the way to the driver's side, and that will give me enough wiggle room to work on to this other side. Now, there are 4 bolts that hold these posts here on both sides. That is going to be your height adjustment. I actually loosened the 4 on this side in order to raise this up, in order to slide this towards the driver's side. Don't remove those 4 bolts completely, because then you will lose the back side. It'll slide down. You'll have to remove this, flip it upside down, and get those in line. So you just barely turn all 4 of those for that height adjustment. So with that driver's side post secure, I can start to line this up now and then work on sliding this piece back towards the passenger side once these bolts are nice and secure. So honestly, off camera, that did take a while to try to push it and rotate both of these at the same time while sliding this across. That was much easier than trying to put this on and then install the 4 bolts underneath. I got 2 of them, but I couldn't get the other side with just the angle. So that may work for you. What worked for me is, of course, what I showed you here. So from here, now that I know these bolts are in, now I can tighten all 4 of these. And then once that's in place, we have these end caps that we will install on the end here, of course. So they do actually have some cutouts there, so you could use these to tie items too. Now there's going to be a flush side with the head, and then there's going to be this rounded off nut. And they're going to correspond with a unique side on this piece. So I'm actually going to put the nut on top just to give it a little bit more of a flush design from the bottom. So with it on, I can simply put this all the way through and then slowly start to secure it down. So I'm going to go over the back installation just to cover this again. It is a little bit tricky. So I still have the base of these supports loose, so that way there's some wiggle room. And by loosening those 4 bolts on each side, I have the height adjustment. So that way I can lift one over the other and slide this panel back and forth. So I have both of those attachments with that plate and the screws through. And then this piece can actually go either way. So there's a channel on both sides, so it doesn't really matter which way you go. Now, if I push this plate up, I can get it into this ridge here, and then it's pretty easy to slide it this way. Going back is going to be a little bit trickier. So now that we have that through, we can line this up. And one of the bolts just fell out, which means I need to restart. Oh, nice. I was able to get that bolt back in without having to move this. All right, so now this is the tricky part, because we have the different heights now. Kind of just wiggling both sides at a time is going to just take you a little bit of time. So like I said earlier, trying to install the bolts afterwards was just too tricky for me. And so as you can tell, I'm just kind of sliding one and then doing the opposite to the other side there. So also along with that, I am taking a measurement to make sure that this is nice and even. And with both of these bars now installed, there's also this rubber trim piece that comes with it. We're going to install that into the top. So this is just going to help any water, anything that doesn't get in the top. We don't have enough for the bottom channel, so you'll just do this on the top of both ones. It's not all that hard to put in. You just start with one side and then you can easily push in the opposite side. So I'm just going to go from end to end basically, and then cut this once I get to the other side. And so now last step is to move on to the bars that run front to back. So what I noticed on the other side is that the screws that I have didn't line up really well with these holes. So what I want to do is find either the upper hole or the lower hole that it's going to line up to best. And once I have it in there and holding it, I can loosen this middle bolt. If you loosen this without a screw in place, that piece is going to slide all the way to the bottom, like I was mentioning earlier with that other piece. So all I'm looking to do is loosen it enough to now line up this lower bolt. And once I have that nice and secure, I can go back to the upper bolt now and make sure that that is threading nicely. So once those are both in, then I can tighten this bolt and then remove these. And so now to start this process, I basically have this rack maxed out at the moment. So as far out as it can go. And it's nice that it can go in just depending on what items you have in the bed, of course, and how much space you actually need. So with this one here, we have a few points in the middle that we can loosen, of course, in order to slide this back and forth. So you not only have those adjustments, but you also have the height adjustment too. And so with these 4 in, I'm just going to snug them down This piece in the front does move. I'm just putting it towards the front, just a personal preference with what you want it to look like. But these are just going to be very well snugged down. So it's been quite some time to get to this step right here, but this bed rack is looking really nice. This is the first time I've done anything like this. So now that it is installed and everything is tightened down, I have a few bolts that are loose because this is height adjustable. So I want to test how high this is able to go. And then of course we can bring this back closer to the cab if we would like. I am not going to move these right now simply because that is going to take a little bit more work, loosening all those and getting this bracket to move. So really only if you need it at a certain point, I would say that is going to be fixed, but we have the height adjustment now. So with the two on each side of each post loose, let's go ahead and raise this up and see how much higher this goes. So the first measurement I'm going to take is with the back piece all the way down, and we're looking at just shy of 38 inches, so 37.75 at its lowest point. Now I did just try this. It looks like it might just be a little bit stuck or stiff for right now. I haven't done this before, so that side seems to slide a little bit more. I think it's just maybe the angle of it and just keeping them kind of as level as you can. So I'll just go back and forth here to see how much higher I can go. All right, so with those snugged up, we went from just shy of 38 inches to just over 45. So we have a lot of play in that, depending on the height of the items that you have. And of course, if you have something that needs to be higher than the roof of the truck itself, you can easily raise these up and do that. And then with the front one, it can be raised, but I'm not too worried about that since the cover is right underneath it. There's no way to put really any items under here. So the front one there, I'm just going to be leaving as that height there. And then I have, well, really both of them to adjust as needed. But I think in the lowest position here is not only going to be great for just driving around town, but it's going to be in line with the roof. So I won't forget that it's higher than the roof unless I actually have something on it. But there's the installation for this universal bed rack paired with the hard tonneau cover there. So take a look at that installation video if you'd like to see that process. And hopefully you found this to be helpful for this bed rack here. It is universal, so you can use this for other brands and models as well. Take a look at the link down in the description below where you can get both of these products. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.